Okay, let's get into it. We're doing a deep dive today into the economics of crowd testing, and we're focusing on test.io specifically.
Right. We've been looking at an investigation into their payment system, how they pay, and also what actual testers are saying about it.
So the mission here is really to understand the math behind it all.
Exactly. You've got companies paying, well, quite a lot of money, thousands, and then you have, over 600,000 people signed up,
Oh.
all hoping for some easy side income.
Yeah, and we need to figure out why the data seems to suggest the whole setup is kind of brutally stacked against those freelancers.
It looks straightforward on the surface, doesn't it?
It really does. Test.io acts as a middleman, connects companies needing QA testing with freelancers who hunt for bugs.
And the idea is simple. Find a bug, report it, get paid. Could be 50 cents, could be maybe $50. Depends how bad the bug is.
But when you look closer, like at the high-level numbers, the difference is stark.
So on the client side, Test.io is pulling in serious, predictable money. Sources suggest companies pay them somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 monthly.
Per month. Wow.
Yeah, so that averages out to about $51,000 a year per client. That revenue stream is pretty much guaranteed for Test.io.
Okay, $51,000 per client. That's solid for the platform. But where does the risk, the unpredictability, actually fall?
It lands squarely on the testers. All those, 600,000 registered testers, they're all scrambling, competing for a tiny variable slice of that client money.
So it's a competition.
A fierce one. And the biggest risk for you, if you're a tester, is that there's just no guarantee. You could spend, say, 5 solid hours testing an app.
Right, doing diligent work.
Diligent work, yeah. But if you don't find a bug that they accept, a unique one, maybe a valuable one, you get absolutely zero.
$0 for 5 hours work.
Exactly. The time you invest counts for nothing unless you strike gold with a bug they approve.
Okay, hang on. Before you even get a chance to look for these bugs, what's the entry process like? Are there hoops to jump through?
Oh, yeah. Before you can even start earning, you have to complete 3 qualification test cycles. And get this, they're unpaid.
Unpaid? You're working for free.
Essentially, yes. These aren't quick tutorials either. It's real testing on real projects. It takes hours, sometimes many hours.
So that's contributing free labor just to, prove you're capable?
That's right. And testers report this contributes to a really low survival rate during onboarding. Many people probably just drop out.
Okay, let's say you push through that. You do the free work, you qualify, you start submitting bug reports. How does that part go? Is it smooth sailing then?
Well, this is where the main economic friction really hits home, the rejection rates.
Rejection? How bad are we talking?
The investigation found some pretty rough examples, like one experienced tester submitted 200 bug reports. 200.
Okay.
Only
Yeah.
20 were accepted for payment. 20 out of 200.
Wait, that's a 90% rejection rate?
A 90% rejection rate.
Yes.
And that's after you've already done the work, invested the time finding and documenting the bug.
90%.
Hmm.
That feels less like a payment model and more like just extracting work. It's like ordering 10 pizzas and only paying for the one slice you liked best.
It's a strong analogy. And the investigation suggested this rejection process might even be deliberately excessive.
Deliberately. Why?
Well, reports mention team leaders asking for endless revisions, even on reports from people who are clearly experienced QA professionals. It raises questions.
But surely they have to accept some bugs, right? Otherwise, the clients wouldn't get any value and the platform would collapse.
That's the crucial part, the incentive structure. Remember that $51,000 average annual fee the client pays?
Yeah, the guaranteed income for test.io.
Right. Test.io charges clients that fixed premium no matter how much or how little they actually pay out to the testers finding the bugs.
So client fees and tester payments are totally disconnected.
Completely decoupled. This creates a really strong incentive for Test.io to, keep payout costs down, control them tightly. The less they pay testers, the bigger their guaranteed margin.
So they're structurally incentivized to minimize what they pay out, maximizing the free or low-cost QA work they get.
That seems to be the dynamic.
Okay, so putting it all together, the verdict seems to be it's legit, you can get paid. They do pay out monthly, apparently, on the 11th.
Yes, it's a legitimate operation in that sense. People do receive payments.
But the whole system seems engineered to extract maximum testing labor while minimizing the cost, using that huge pool of hopeful freelancers.
Exactly. When you factor in the unpaid qualification time, those potentially massive rejection rates, This skilled QA work can end up paying less than minimum wage if you calculate it hourly.
So the platform gets predictable cash flow, the companies get flexible testing.
And the individual tester provides the subsidy that makes the model so profitable for the platform.
Right. So for anyone listening, maybe thinking about these platforms for side income, this deep dive is pretty crucial, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Understanding these dynamics is key.
We've looked at the numbers, the structure. So the final thought we want to leave you with is this. What's the real, maybe hidden cost of participating in these kinds of platforms? The ones that control both the work and the rules for getting paid. That's the calculation you really need to make for yourself.